This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Thursday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel, right there on my own Facebook machine. You got it on social media at Joe Gaither 6, at MA Woods _ at Bama Central. You can find the Joe Gaither Show wherever you find podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. We're going to have a fun show today, get into a few things. We left some topics on the table yesterday, specifically season and superlatives. We were inspired by I was on WNSP this past Monday, and they hit me with some season-ending superlatives, and I thought, we can take that and run with it on the Joe Gaither Show. Absolutely. Appreciate those guys on the afternoon drive having me on pretty regularly. That's what we're going to do today. We're also going to take a voicemail from our man, Robert. Robert from Brookwood called right as we were going off yesterday, Mason, so I didn't download it and bring it right on, but called yesterday. We're going to lead off with his voicemail. You can call at 205-462-7340, extension 800, if you've got a topic or a question, comment, or really a complaint about the show or about your life. We'll take all that right there on the voicemail machine at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Want to let you guys know ahead of time as we get rolling. The show is sponsored by Derek Daniel State Farm. Mason is over in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios this morning. You can find him just off McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, past the Tiger Rock on the left as you're getting into Northport. He would love to talk to you about your insurance needs or concerns. 205-758-3391. Get you a local agent who knows your name, knows the area, knows what kind of car you're driving. If you've got problems, a local agent is really super beneficial. Like you don't know about, you don't think about it until you have a problem, and Derek can take care of your problem. Call him at 205-758-3391. With all that, good morning, Mason. How's the weather in Tuscaloosa? We doing good today?
It's still a little kind of dreary outside, to be honest with you. So, I mean, all the more reason to go get involved at Derek Daniel State Farm. You get ready for this weather. It rained a lot last night. Probably is going to rain more today, it looks like. What's new, though?
Oh, gosh. I'm not a meteorologist, and I don't have the scientific facts, like, to compare year on year. But it just feels like this year in Tuscaloosa, or this summer in Tuscaloosa, has been just some of the most rain I've ever seen.
It is genuinely like it. Well, it's to the point where I think that's like a perfect example. It's to the point where normal people like you and I are kind of getting like, okay, this is ridiculous. What's happening? It has been so much rain. Yes, I like you. I am not a meteorologist, but even I can tell that this is a preposterous amount of rain over the last month and change.
And maybe it is just like bad perception, but my perception is that it's been like unusual amount of rain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to it raining a lot in the summer. That's not abnormal, but for the most part, it is usually it's like an hour at a time. It has been just constant. When it rains, you're set for the next pretty good bit here. Seems like I don't know what's going on.
We can always count on our friend Hunter Johnson at Burner L. Johnson on the Twitter machine. Sure could use this rain. So, we hope everybody stays dry in Tuscaloosa today and really the rest of the week. Be safe on the roads. Be safe really with whatever you've got going on. I want to lead the show with really a terrible topic, and I'm sorry to do this, but I feel like it's the right thing to do. Yesterday, a lot of the news outlets, Bama Central included, had to report the news that Keelan Russell's twin sister passed away, Kirsten Russell. Kirsten Russell and Keelan graduated, last month?
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was not very long ago. Those two were dancing across the stage, getting their diplomas, celebrating each other and celebrating their accomplishments. I have no details. I'm not really even that interested in the details. The only detail that I think is pertinent is the Tuscaloosa Crimes Unit, Violent Crimes Unit, said that there was no criminal activity. Really, it's just extremely sad. It's horrific, in my opinion. She's 18 years old. Whatever happened, it's tragedy. It's awful. And so I just wanted to start the show by sending prayers to Keelan Russell, sending prayers to the whole Alabama football family. I mean, people might say that or might perceive that this just affects the Russell family. That's not exact. I mean, they're affected the most, absolutely, 1,000%. But the reach goes so far when there's a young death. And I've been pretty sad about it, that really since about 7 o'clock last night, since that news came across the wire. And so I just wanted to start the show by offering prayers to the Russell family, offering prayers to Keelan, his mother, and just everybody that is connected with that young lady.
Yeah, just really heartbreaking news. Was very unfortunate to see that come across my timeline yesterday. Like you said, don't want to get into any details, don't want to really know any details. They're not really important in a situation like this. What's most important is that, the family is doing as good as they possibly can be in this time. And, again, like you said, we'll continue to pray for them and try to offer our support in any way we possibly can from the show here.
Really, really tragic. So just want to give that a second to settle. We're going to go right into the voicemail line. Robert from Brookwood left us a voicemail. We appreciate that so much. We were tail end of the show yesterday, and I saw his text message come across my line, and I was like, oh, I don't think I can get to it right now. But we love our callers, and I feel like this is a great place to kind of revamp the show up. We're going to take Robert's voicemail, react to whatever he had to say. You can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We'll take his voicemail, then we'll go into season in superlatives. And I got a couple other ancillary topics that we might get into, like Alabama basketball schedule. Are you going to go up to Huntsville to check out Coach Petway versus Coach Oates? That's going to be a lot of fun.
Ticket prices.
Oh no, is it already insane?
We'll get into it, but
all right. Oh no. You're gonna have to utilize the media pass to see that game. But hey, let's go to the voicemail line. Let's fire this show up. You can find us 205-462-7340, extension 800. Here is Robert from Brookwood.
Morning, guys. Robert from Brookwood. I'm proud of baseball. Got a little frustrated with it at the end of the year. About halfway through the season, our pitching went south, but he can recruit pitchers and NIL, but I can't complain. 41-18, best year we've had in, almost 20 years. Now on the football, I'm not ready to hit the panic button because it's too early, but we rank in the 30s in recruiting, and I know we'll be up there in the top 10. But, guys, when are we going to be in the top 10? Have a good day.
Oh, I love it, Robert. I love it. Absolutely. First, baseball. I think Robert is one of the more loyal Alabama baseball fans that I know, watching every game. And look, brilliant, honestly. He gives you I was frustrated for this and this and that, but really good season and great year. Mason, why don't you tackle his recruiting complaints?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's certainly a bit of a valid complaint that at this point, many of Alabama's top competitors, the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Oregons of the world, are ranking in that top 5 to 10 range in the recruiting rankings. But fear not. I believe that if I had to say by the end of the summer, I think Alabama probably is firmly in the top 10 of the recruiting rankings. Seemingly, at least in the month of June alone, I think there's 3 or 4 different guys that have their commitment dates set, and then a few in July as well. So, they probably won't land every single one of them, but I think they're looking pretty good with a lot of them. And then also, like I've mentioned a bunch of times on the show, they just welcomed, I think, 13 or 14 prospects this past weekend, and they've got 30 more set to come over the rest of the summer. So they, another 10 or so this weekend, and then the same after that, and again the weekend after that. So it's not necessarily time to hit the panic button yet. You are right to be a little bit worried. You see that number, it's a bit jarring, especially when you see the Alabama A right beside it, and it's like, that doesn't quite compute in my head. But I think they're in pretty good standing with a lot of the top guys in this class at a lot of the positions that they are looking for.
Ooh, so make sure you follow Mason Woods for all of your recruiting updates. MA_Woods_ on the Twitter machine. Alabama gearing up for another huge weekend this weekend. Any big names yet you've got on your list, or are you still compiling here? Because
Ooh, let's
it's like
see.
it's like 4 weekends in a row for the Tide. Last weekend
Yes.
was the start of it, and I think there's going to be 3-4 weekends in a row. So to Robert's point, I think these 4 weeks, this month of June, you've got guys with commitment dates. If you miss on them, then there's time to panic. And you're not going to get them all. You're not going to get them all. But like when these guys with recruiting dates, your Isaiah Crowell guy, he's kind of already had his date right there set. You look at Sedarian Morgan, Boobie Feaster.
Mhm.
You're hoping to get one of those two. Now you get
Sure.
both of those, you're like, heck yeah, roll tide. But I think you just need to start looking at some of these recruiting date or decision dates, and that's when you'll see Alabama skyrocket in the rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. This weekend they are welcoming. I've got 13 guys now. That might change a little bit as the week goes on. Some of these guys will kind of update their schedules and things a little last minute. But as of right now, I have seen that they're going to have another 13 guys on campus. The headliners being 5-star Jera Edwards, who is uncommitted right now. I don't think he has even named his finalists yet. And then a 5-star linebacker Xavier Griffin, who we've talked about a decent amount on the show, decommitted from USC last month and then named Alabama as a finalist about a week after that. So things are looking up.
Hey, Mason, guess what I just found? Oh, not that.
Hey, everybody. Happy June.
Oh, happy June.
Happy June.
I love it. Man. So it is going to be
everybody,
happy June on the recruiting trail.
Hey, everybody.
I think it will be.
June.
Thank you, Andrew Luck. It will be a happy June.
Absolutely. We appreciate Robert from Brookwood calling on the voicemail line. I'm really, really hopeful that they get that Xavier Griffin fella. Lock him down. He seems like he is
he seems like a Jihad Campbell type.
Yeah, a future bad dude.
yeah. I don't want to put any like pressure on him that he doesn't need, but seems like a Jihad Campbell type to me. Just kind of the guy that can really do it all.
Well, all right. Let's move into something else. Look, anybody can call on the voicemail line. We'd love it. We got Dax on the voicemails a lot. We got Robert on the voicemail machine as well. Let's move into some ancillary topics. I've got a bunch of superlatives that we can get into, but we were sitting there before the show talking about uniforms. What do we do with this every year? Every year you get does Alabama, can we get Greg Byrne? Should Kalen DeBoer do alternate uniform game? Every year. And is it just cheap content, or do these people really think that Alabama is going to use an alternate uniform?
I mean, I don't want to sound mean, but I think it's certainly the former there. I think that, maybe people under the age of 12 or so think that there's a chance Alabama would wear an alternate uniform, but anybody that is middle school or above knows good and well, like you and I do, that Crimson Tide will not be changing their uniforms. Not for anything that there's no like historical tie to, and I don't even think they change it for something there is a historical tie to. They threw the houndstooth pattern on the collar for like one game and said, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that again."
Alabama lost that game, right? It was Florida State that year, 07?
Yeah, maybe. I don't even remember.
I believe it. I think that's what it was for, that Florida State game. Over in Jacksonville? It was like a weird neutral site game.
I mean, even looking back at I didn't love the way it looked. I thought it was cool when I was a kid just because it was something new, but looking back, it didn't really even look that good. So I'm glad it didn't stay.
Yeah, so what got my attention today was matte black helmet, matte, black uniform. Basically, swap the whole uniform for black and just use crimson trim. And you said it, and it didn't click with me until you said it. It's South Carolina.
Yeah, it does just kind of look like South Carolina. You're missing the shoulder stripes, and the stripes on the pants are a little different. But color wise, you're basically looking like the Gamecocks there. Yeah, I mean, I've been sitting here like I'm racking my brain trying to think of any possible combination other than just crimson and white for the Crimson Tide, just to have some fun and like throw some ideas out there. But just about anything you do, because it's really black and gray are your options for other colors you could throw on that uniform, and you put either of those on there and you're either looking like you're looking like we said, South Carolina, black Ohio State alternate uniform, something like that, or you pick gray, silver, somewhere in that range. It's like, oh, we're Washington State, what have we done now? There's just not many options. I replied to your tweet about it. I still would like to see the white helmet for maybe just a one-off game. We get some sort of anniversary thing going, and we're breaking out the white. Like, that'd be cool. I don't know really how you could set it up, because I'd like to see it with the white uniform. So maybe you'd have to do it at a neutral site game where Alabama's the away team or something. I don't know, but I would be cool with that. But that's really your only option. There's just not much you can do.
All right. Yep. I just caught my eye this morning, and I caught my eye and I rolled my eyes at it, because and that tweet's going to get like, and shoot, I'm a part of the problem since I quote tweeted it and said, oh, this is not going to happen. But that tweet's going to get all kinds of, oh, this looks great, and all kinds of traction. Summer content. We gotta figure out a way to, like, what dumb summer content that we can we like embrace for ourselves. Is it something like Mr. Brightside's the greatest song in the world?
Anybody that hates it, oh man, it's so good. It just really gets people going in Bryant-Denny Stadium every time I hear it.
Did you see Mr. Brightside has made made EA Sports College Football 26?
Oh, good for them. I'm glad that the Killers are still raking in money off of that song, because I mean, I don't really listen to them regularly. They might still be putting out music. I don't really know, but I've not heard from them in a long time. So I'm glad that they're still getting their checks.
That's the only song of theirs that I'm like, yep.
I mean, that song at this point, that's like a piece of Americana. Everybody knows that song.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you can't deny its impact.
Everybody looks at Dixieland Delight in the stadium, and of course, because of the bleep Auburn and all the fun parts about on beer, that sort of stuff, everybody cheers. But to me, I think Mr. Brightside gets people going more.
I do too. I think it uses everybody up a little more. And Dixieland Delight, I like the song. It's a good song. But there's not really any denying that it is a song about the state of Tennessee. There's just not any dancing around it. That song is about the state of Tennessee. And I understand that we hate Tennessee around these parts, so it's always been a bit strange to me that that's the one that caught on as the Alabama song. I don't know Alabama's catalog that deeply. I know that obviously they've got a handful of hits that I'm very familiar with, and but I'm sure that they have another song in there that's specifically about the state of Alabama that we could have picked, but who knows?
Oh man, the band
always caught me weird.
They're from my neck of the woods, Gadsden. Obviously, I'm a little further up the interstate in Chattanooga, but it's really, really close to Tennessee. They could have been. They could drive over. I bet you that song is about them driving from Gadsden to Chattanooga one night,
sure,
and making it happen, just having a good old time. But yeah, I'm with you. That's always confused me as well. All right, Mason. So I was on. It was actually Tuesday on WNSP, right there. Sometimes the fellas call me about every third week or so. They end up calling me to join them, and I really appreciate them thinking of me for sure. WNSP 105.5 in Mobile, the Sports Drive. You can find them right there, or download the Sound of Mobile app if you want to hear them. If you want to hear them out of the area, they'll have me on from time to time. And Mason, usually it's, what do you think of the game? Or what do you think of the next game? That sort of thing. Great. They bring me on, and I hear them start to kind of set this up. Oh, we're going to do season end awards. And I'm thinking to myself, cool, I can roll with this, but I wish you would have, let me know some of these things. But you know how it is in radio. I promise you this is what happened. They go, they're in a break. Oh, we got Joe coming up. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. End of the year awards. It just
Bingo.
And so I don't hold any ill will with those guys because I know exactly how that happened, or I think I know exactly how that happened. But I'm on the phone. I'm like, man, I wish I would have been prepared for this just a little bit because I could give you some better answers. Because I felt like my answers were all just like the lowest hanging fruit there was. So okay, I asked our friends at the AI machine to spit me out some popular high school superlatives. They've got most likely to succeed, for students expected to achieve. Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Most likely to succeed, best smile, class clown, most athletic, best dress, most school spirit, best friends. We're going to skip. I think there was one that says cutest couple. They asked me cutest couple, and I was like, dude, I don't know who's dating who. Like,
Yeah, I
like
could not tell you.
I hope all the couples in the Alabama athletics department are having a great, strong relationship, fun time,
Sure.
good stuff on the up and up. But I don't have a clue if Billy's dating Sally.
No idea. I think, honestly, I think it'd maybe be more problematic if we did know.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. We know Tyler Booker's girlfriend because she works in the athletic department, and she is so nice. She's working with the SIDs, passing the microphone around. But other than that,
speaking of Tyler Booker,
yeah, go ahead.
we never mentioned it but like all of the talk with his pet turtle pre and post draft, that was like the funniest saga I've ever seen. Him talking about his dad. Having to fly his dad to Tuscaloosa, or to fly his dad in to pick the turtle, to watch the turtle, so he could go to like do his pre-draft meetings and stuff. Like there was no telling how many thousands of dollars put into providing care for this turtle, and it that's what I want in an offensive lineman. Somebody that's that dedicated to caring for something. I know he's going to take care of my quarterback.
That's awesome. Spending all that money for a turtle.
It's like the Blind Side scene where it's like, oh, he scored in the 97th percentile for protecting or something like that, or defending others. Yeah, that's Tyler Booker right there. The man loves his turtle, and he will protect your quarterback.
Dak Prescott, I hope you're happy. Take care of that man. Get him a TV. Get him a nice gift this Christmas. Oh, boy. So let's start here. Most likely to succeed. The AI machine says for students expected to achieve great things post-graduation. Now, I think they hit me with this on Tuesday, and Ryan Williams? Which,
Sure.
okay.
That's the
great.
easy answer that jumps right in my head.
What do we think here? Will it be... Is there any other great candidate here? Especially, I'm thinking in context of students expected to achieve great things post-graduation. So any departing seniors that we can identify here. Let's go to the old Roll Tide machine and see.
I've got
see
one in my head, and
Go
it's
for
purely based off of an NFL projection, not because I know that he's gonna go be a doctor or anything like that. I'm sure there's some players on the roster who maybe will end up doing that, but I don't know. Damani Jackson, it's a guy that we have hyped up so much on this show as being what we expect to be a first-round corner, and I think he will play himself into that this year. And I think he will have a very productive, successful NFL career. What that necessarily looks like it varies player to player, but I would not be shocked if we're sitting here 10 years from now and it's like, oh, Damani Jackson's a 5-time Pro Bowler.
I'm with you there. I think he's going to be very successful in the NFL. What about? I'll pick a senior that we've moved. What about Robbie Oots? Because I think Robbie, what he has, not necessarily it translates to an NFL superstar, but what I think that he has is the grit and go-getter to where I don't care what the circumstances are in life. I'll figure out a way. I'll figure out a way to get on the field. I'll figure out a way to make myself valuable on the field.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to carve out a role on this team. And look, I don't know that he's going to be with the Seattle Seahawks or play in the NFL more than 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, come on. I hope that he plays for 15 years. I mean, I wish the best for him. But let's just see. Average NFL career
2.3
length
years
is
or something.
3.3 years,
There it is.
right? So, look, if he hits that 3.3 years, great. Good for him. I think that Robbie Utes is the type to, well, my NFL career is over. Let's pivot, and I'm just going to go be successful at whatever else I'm in business. I don't know. He just stands out to me.
Yeah, I think certainly. And I think, honestly, as far as his NFL career goes, I mean, to like what you were just saying with that kind of grit and that determination that I think he has, like, he seems like the type of guy who is just going to find his way on a roster every season. Like, it's just going to be like, oh, somebody picked up Robbie Utes on a 1-year deal. Sure. And it's just because that attitude is becoming more and more rare in football now. And Robbie Utes certainly has an attitude that I think any football coach falls in love with. Like you said, just the selflessness, the kind of just, no matter what, I'll do whatever is going to help the team. That's very valuable.
All right, let's go with a basketball player off the board. Obviously, we all love you, Mark Sears, but how about Max Chernowski as most likely to succeed? Because I'm pretty sure my man Max is a genius as far as academics. He's one academic honor roll from 2002 all the way to 2025. NCAA Elite 90 award recipient in 24, which is basically an academic award. The recipient is given to the student athlete with the highest GPA at the Final Four.
Good on him.
He was SEC Community Service Team, and I'm pretty sure. I don't see his in his bio right here what he was studying, but I think he was studying something medical, something in the medical field. I think that Max Chernowski may have been a good walk-on.
Biology pre-med.
All right, there you go. All right.
Thanks to our friend Nick Kelly right there.
That's right. Okay, I knew that I'd read a story on his academic success. So we'll go basketball. Max Chernowski for most likely to succeed.
Seems like a pretty good pick. The other person that popped into my head, and I was wondering what Kai Spears was up to these days. I remember his dad being a lawyer. He's at Marshall though, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, he went to transfer to Marshall because I'm pretty sure father is transferred, working there as an athletic director.
Aha.
All right, so next one on our list, Class Clown. Now, I didn't really like what they did to me on WNSP in this framing. They did throw me Class Clown, but they said, oh, Joe, who's the cut up? Who's the one not going to class? Who's the one not doing? And I'm like, I don't know who's not going to class. Like, and maybe that makes me a bad journalist. Maybe that makes me a bad media member, but I'm not taking honor roll or taking attendance for all these people's classes.
Sure.
The AI machine says for the student who's always making others laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you don't have to be a bad student to be a class clown. I don't think I don't think those are mutually exclusive. If I had to pick though,
go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to think.
All right, as I got one pretty easy. Sure. I think if you turn on the New Wave podcast and see Jalen Mbakwe,
exactly where I was going.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, that's just exactly what popped into my head. Also, I was gonna say Jalen Mbakwe because it seems like he is just kind of the comic relief a lot. That's exactly. Well, that's really the only extended content we get. I mean, it's hard to even see the personality of any of the other players.
Would Aiden Holloway be a good pick because he seems like he's a happy-go-lucky guy, just fun all the time. But I don't know about like if there's a prankster.
I know that Houston Millette is quite active on TikTok. He posts, and this is going to sound like I'm being mean to him, and I'm really trying not to, but he posts like the same video every day, basically, just with a slightly difference to it. And it was when all of the players were leaving, it was him, and it was a video. It was like, hey, you guys want to go play some hoops or something? And then it was him filming their empty lockers. And he did it with each player that was leaving. And then now that LeBaron came back, he did it again. And then LeBaron was in his locker. And it was like, hey, he's done the same video. And he does, good on him. He's seems like he's getting some good traction on him. But I don't know if that necessarily counts as class clown material.
Yeah, who else would have been funny on the football
I mean, it seems like LeBaron is a bit of a, it seems like he's pretty funny.
We love that.
He seems to be smiling and laughing a lot when I see him when the camera pans to him on the bench or anything like that.
Take it back to yesterday's conversation. Yay, Alabama! You could help us know who the class clown was with a little bit of premium content.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's so, I don't know. I don't know. It would be so much easier for fans to create personal relationships, or not personal, but like parasocial, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for, but that's basically what it would be. It would so much easier for them to like emotionally connect with these players if they had any semblance of what their personalities were. But nope, we're not going to get that, because the only moment you get to see them talk, it's extremely trained media. Yes, everything is good, we're all doing fine. Or you get the New Wave podcast and you get maybe 4 players.
Let's keep going. Most athletic from last year's academic calendar year. You had football, 24 all the way to this past week. I think that there's a lot of directions you can go.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but the first name that pops into my head is somebody we barely saw, Darian Reed.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Ooh. Certainly a good answer. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with football. Let's go with. I mean, Jahad Campbell, I guess. That feels like a pretty fair answer. We've talked about how just dynamic of a player he was so many times on the show, because he was just extremely versatile and able to play so many different positions on the defense. And to me, that'd be a pretty good indicator of athleticism.
I think that's a great pick as well. Will we throw? Look, I'm saving Jalen Milroe for one of these for one of these later down the list here.
Yeah,
he is a good option here. Obviously, extreme athlete, like absurd athlete, but I think that he fits another one much closer. So I am going to save him for that. Can I go?
Yeah, is there anybody on this year's team that who would you give that award to? I immediately popped into my head was Zabian Brown.
Mm-hmm. That's a good pick. Deshaun Lee.
Yeah.
Are you going to take that mantle right off the bat?
Ooh, maybe Justin Hill.
I think Justin Hill is a good take as well.
Lee. The guy's built like a power forward, but he moves. He's insane. It's crazy.
I wonder, Quay Russaw, is his athleticism, power to speed, to agility. Yeah, Quay Russaw seems like he might be a fun one as well.
A lot of good athletes.
I don't really know what I would say for best dressed on this list.
That's a tough call.
Because again, I'm not on Instagram following them dressed for the games, that sort of thing.
And it seems like also, and maybe this is just me not seeing it as well as other people, but maybe I'm wrong. Like, it seems like they've gotten away a little bit from wearing as many like nice fancy suits, and I see more players just rocking the like sweats nowadays. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's like a home and away game thing that haven't quite clicked together in my head, but I don't know. I feel like I don't see as many of the, like I said, fancy game day fits like I maybe one did.
The Walk of Champions, though, that's when you see that a little bit,
yeah,
and then on the road. But still, I don't really have anybody that stands out here.
Yeah, I mean, I seem to recall maybe Ryan Williams having some good ones last year, but again, I think that's more just because he was the only one I saw, because he was the one putting out pictures and things.
Yeah, he had a lime green suit.
I do remember that. Yeah.
All right, but this next one I think is easy. Actually, I don't think it's easy. I think I
feel like there's two here.
Yeah. All three football captains could play for here. Most school spirit. The student who enthusiastically supports school events. Originally, that's what I'm saving Jalen Milroe for. Roll Tide! Just every time, Alabama. But I think you might have a three-way tie between Jalen, Tyler Booker, and Malachi Moore.
I think interesting. Like Malachi Moore is kind of a different category of school spirit, though. Like I don't think Malachi Moore is the guy who's showing up to a pep rally and is like, "Come on, guys, let's cheer for the team." Jalen Milroe is that guy. Tyler Booker, I think, is that guy. Malachi Moore is the one who is standing on the sidelines, and if they ain't wearing crimson, bleep them. So I think there's, it's kind of two sides of the same coin there. I would probably give it to either Milroe or Booker just because they are the guys who would be we're going to do the rah-rah, do the press conferences and things, but that's a tough call.
Yeah, so, did I skip Best Smile? I think Jalen is in that Best Smile category as well.
Oh man, Best Smile. I did go. So I was scrolling through the roster here, just looking at everyone's face, and basically trying to think like, okay, if I didn't know this was a football player, would I just think this was a nice fella? And I settled on Justin Hill because he's cheesing the most of any player in his roster picture. He fully chin up, he's really got a grin, and that's who I'm gonna rock with.
There we go. Lastly for us, on superlatives, end of the year superlatives, as the academic calendar year comes to a close. Best friends for an inseparable pair or group of friends. I'm going off the board for a women's basketball pair, but I'll invite you to take whatever low hanging fruit you like.
I mean, I think we've seen a lot of Tyler Booker and Ty Simpson. They were at the Dallas Stars game a month ago, however long it was. I think I think you've told me that Wilkin Formby and Alausa Lennon are pretty good friends. Is that what it? But I think again we have just too easy of an answer here, and it's the members of the New Wave podcast because the chemistry there is undeniable. It's very obvious that those two are just genuinely very good friends.
Absolutely. I like Sarah Ashley Barker and Aaliyah Nye for both being good friends, good teammates, but also both getting into the WNBA and leaving Alabama women's basketball probably better than they found it. I think they were close to one another, and as a pair, elevated the program for sure.
I do have one old one. Can we go AJ McCarron and Barrett Jones?
Such good friends. We're shoving each other in the national championship game.
That's like the true mark of friendship right there. When you can have a near fight, a somewhat of a physical altercation, and then it's just like immediately after, all right, yeah, we're cool. No big deal.
Absolutely. So if you got end of the year superlatives, if you think any of our answers were terrible or great, you can call the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800, or of course, leave us a comment at Bama Central on the Bama Central YouTube channel at MAWoods_ or at Joe Gaither 6. Let's keep rolling here on the program. We're having a happy Thursday, June 5th. We appreciate everybody joining us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. A little bit of news yesterday in the Alabama basketball sphere. Alabama lining up another non-conference opponent. Alabama basketball is set to take on the Kennesaw State. What are they? What is Kennesaw State? Kennesaw State, Red Hawks, something. Yep, they are the Owls. They are the Owls. Well done. Good job.
Should have been more confident with that.
Absolutely. You know what you're talking about, Mason. I know that my man Hunter DeCiver has the whole schedule on his Twitter machine now for all the non-conference action. Where was it? Because I clicked like on it. Yeah. Alabama opening the season November 3rd against North Dakota. You got St. John's, Purdue, Illinois, and Chicago. Then the Players Era Festival, SEC ACC Challenge. And then you got your UTSA game with Austin Claunch in Tuscaloosa, against Arizona in Birmingham, and Kennesaw State in Huntsville. That's what's just been added. And we have TBD against Yale and then against Brian Hodgson and South Florida. No, he's at UCF. Excuse me. So we're talking about the edition from yesterday, December 21st in Huntsville. Is this going to be, what is it, Rocket City Classic? Is that how it's going to be marketed? That's how it has been marketed before. Are you pumped to see NATO to take on Antoine Petway?
Sure, I love these games. I think it's very cool that they do this. I think I was saying last week. I think it's sure, there's probably a little bit it's a friendly rivalry between a guy and his old boss. I'm sure it's extremely fun for both Nate Oates to coach his old assistant, and then for his old assistant to coach against his old boss. Where there's not really any super high stakes on it because it's a non-conference game where it's a very, very high-level Alabama team against Kennesaw State, who is probably going to be a good team. I trust Antoine Petway, but it's just not on that level right now. So I think it's great for both programs. I think it's good exposure for Kent State or for Kennesaw State. I think it's just good for Alabama. They get to see. I don't know if I guess any of these guys on the roster now were they even coached by Petway at this point.
I'm not sure about that, but you look at
But it's cool to see an old friend.
Is this last year's roster? No. Okay, yeah, last year's roster. There's some familiar names with Delaney Hurd. Used to play.
Oh, sure, yeah. I forgot he plucked a bunch out of the transfer portal.
Who was it? Who was the kid? Was here, then went to Wake Forest. Davin Cosby. They got Davin Cosby is on the roster now for next year. So it'll be Coach Petway and Davin Cosby trying to take on the Crimson Tide.
It'll be fun. Those games are fun. I think this is gonna sound bad, but it's also a sneaky good way to sneak in an easy victory and have a good excuse for scheduling a bad team. You know what I mean? You can be, somebody can say, "Oh, Alabama played Kennesaw State," and you can be like, "Yeah, it's their old assistant coach. Of course they played them. There's history there." You can kind of back it up and have a little bit of argument there.
Yeah, Kennesaw State was 19-14 last season, and I totally agree. You're gonna get a couple bye games. You may as well make them somewhat significant. Sure. You may as well make them somewhat interesting for your fan base.
Yeah.
What do you think? You said ticket prices are crazy for this?
Not for that one. I don't see any on sale for that game yet. But what I do see for sale is the St. John's game up in MSG and the game against Purdue that is going to be here in Coleman Coliseum. And I can get you an MSG for $393, which I guess all things considered is not that awful. But the Purdue game is already sitting at a ripe $330 for the cheapest ticket in the house.
In Tuscaloosa?
In Tuscaloosa. Coleman Coliseum, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're looking at the top corner, $330. Section A. Yeah.
Does this mean my basketball dreams are coming to fruition?
Quite possibly.
That the fever pitch, the fan base is starting to, the fever is starting to spread, because there are people that have the fever, but the fever is spreading.
It might be. Now, I sincerely hope that this is not a case of just a flock of Purdue fans buying tickets and they're going to show up in Coleman Coliseum. But yeah, the tickets are pricey.
Wow, I gotta keep myself in good standing with our boss Chris Walsh so that I can get into the building for those games. I would love. I don't think it's gonna happen because of the LSU day, but I would love to say, yeah, I'm just going to New York to do Alabama St. John's and MSG. I would love that. I was talking to a friend yesterday. He's a UConn fan. And UConn just signed up for a home and home with Kansas. And I said, sir, you should make an excuse to go out to Lawrence and see Fog Allen Fieldhouse to watch your team play. There's just some venues. We talked about it yesterday with Haywood Stadium for track, MSG, basketball, Fog Allen Fieldhouse. There's just some venues. And I just love the way that Coach Oates continues to schedule fun, unique games that keep the fan base on their toes and energized.
Yeah, I think it's great. I would love to be able to get to, I mean, honestly, any game at MSG, but especially to see, the Crimson Tide play there would be so cool. It's just history. It's just such a historical venue. Such a, pillar of basketball. Absolutely. Can't tell a story of basketball without talking about Madison Square Garden.
No, you cannot. Let's see, Mason. Did I have anything else for us? I know we're a little bit ahead of our usual time. We appreciate Julian Lee jumping in on the comment section, offering her condolences to the Russell family. Absolutely, we echo those sentiments. You can join us on the Facebook comments as well, Julian. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the show. Absolutely. I think that, unfortunately, I'm nearing the end of my list here already. Let me go through my likes and notes here.
Something that just popped into my head as you
Yeah,
were
please.
mentioning, you were rattling off, scheduling these cool venues and things like that. You know what they need to bring back? What I miss so badly, the Carrier Classic.
Oh,
When they used to play
Alabama.
the game on the aircraft carrier, that was like the coolest thing ever. I would pay a gross amount of money to watch the Tide play on an aircraft carrier. That was like I always thought that was the single coolest venue I think I've ever seen for a college basketball game. And then, I remember they would do the one-off camo uniform sometimes for the teams that were playing in it. And like that would be, we talked about alternate uniforms also earlier. That would be an acceptable reason for, Alabama basketball to drop a nice camo alternate or something.
Okay, here's something we haven't talked about. And we do need to give the people a little bit of football content for sure. Right? What you think? What'd you think when you saw this come across your? I know you've already seen it. Bray Hubbard being PFF's higher rated safety than Caleb Downs.
I mean, my real answer, my fleshed out answer that I've thought about a little bit is it doesn't really matter that much. PFF a lot of times doesn't really know what they're talking about, and people are going to see that and they're going to run with it as a victory lap. That Caleb Downs sucks. It is impressive. Don't get me wrong. Like I think if nothing else, it speaks to Bray Hubbard having a very good season last year. He was fantastic. He did not make a lot of mistakes, and he made a lot of plays. If you ask any team in the NFL which player they'd rather have on their team next year,
It's Bray Hubbard.
32 of them are going to say Caleb Downs. I like Bray Hubbard. He's not that guy. Maybe I'm proven wrong this year, and Bray Hubbard becomes, your Reed Blankenship, Cooper Flag type, or not Cooper Flag, who's a Cooper DeJean type prospect, but I don't know that I think he's going to be a more diamond in the rough kind of guy when it comes to draft time.
PFF has him as the third-rated returning safety in the Power Four, behind Terry Moore from Duke and Bud Clark from TCU. Then it's our man Bray Hubbard. You got to skip 2 or 3 more places. Caleb Downs, 5th. And look, the margin is so minuscule here when we say this. Yeah. The margin, they've got these ratings. 90.1 for Terry Moore in first. Okay, Bray Hubbard in third at 89.2. You're talking, what is that? Yeah. That's 9/10 of a point. Okay, sure. And then to get all the way down to 5th for Caleb Downs, 87.9. So what's that? 88.9 is a whole point plus 0.3. 1.3 points away from, So we're talking splitting hairs here as far as who's better than who, and I wonder a little bit if Caleb Downs' rogue play, a little bit of a roamer, a little bit of I'm just going to gamble here or there, knocks him down, whereas Bray Hubbard, I'm going to do my job and do it efficiently and do it well, and you're going to feel me as I do it, gets him that, 1.3 points above Caleb Downs.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I'm not going to put any real stock into that other than just kind of saying like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, Bray Hubbard is good. I think he's going to have a great year. I think Caleb Downs will have a great year.
Ooh. Yeah, speaking of great year, that's what we have failed to do this the last 2 days. Who did roll call last night? Alabama roll call. All things.
What are we at? 86?
We got to be at 87 or 86. Let's see. Today is all the way down, 86 days away from kicking off against Florida State. So We've got Alabama roster. There's not anybody on with 86, right? That's ridiculous.
Unlikely. Not
All
a
the
great
way
number.
down. No, it's a good number. We need another receiver. Some tight
86
end.
is not a great one. 88's good. 85 is good. 86, you're losing me a bit.
You do have a tight end, Peter Knudsen. Peter Knudsen
Okay.
is a transferred in from Weber State. Joined the Crimson
Yeah,
Tide from
that's
Weber State. Appeared 12 games during his junior season at Weber State, logging 356 snaps, 9 catches for 63 yards. Played in 4 games the year prior and 8 games in 2022. Did not see any playing time in the 2021 season. My man's is a two-way player who served as a quarterback and punter at McCall Donnelly High School, 2A Player of the Year in Southern Idaho.
Heck yeah.
6'4", 256 from Idaho, Peter Knudsen. I think he's going to be trying to challenge for that Robbie Oots role. I'm not sure that he's going to be. I think you brought in a lot of bodies to challenge for that Robbie Oots role.
Yeah, I think
You got Jay Hobson.
it's a case of just let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, you got Jay Hobson you brought in from Mississippi State. You got Peter Knudsen. You brought in the kid from Jackson Marco. He's the kid from Troy,
West
right?
Virginia.
Or West Virginia. Brody
Dalton.
Dalton is from Troy.
Dalton.
Thank you. That's how
You
valuable
know,
you
Ashawn
are,
Robinson wore 86. I forgot about that. That's a pretty good one. Maybe I may have to adjust my 86 take if Ashawn Robinson wore 86. It was a great number, one of the best numbers I've ever seen. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Robinson.
Absolutely. So 86 days away from Alabama football. We will be back on the program tomorrow. The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We're cutting it, a couple minutes early. That's A-okay. We've given you a couple long shows already this week, and we appreciate everybody who has joined us on the Facebook machine, Miss Julie Lee, on the voicemail machine, Mr. Robert from Brookwood, everybody who joins us on their own podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. We really appreciate Derek Daniel for hosting the program. You can go call him today for all of your insurance needs. 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We will talk to you tomorrow. We'll have a fun Friday. We'll figure out some topics, some football topics to get into on the program right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.